Well, happy Thursday, folks. I think it's the 24th, 23rd, 24th, something like that. I forgot to look at the date. Anyway, we are painting fascia board. That's going to go up there, and hopefully that'll kind of cover up some of my wavy soffits. Actually, it will. We're using Zinsser Bullseye 2 primer sealer. Oh, of course, my gloves blew off. And it's water-based, which means it's kind of a latex kind of thing, which is what water-based means. And it's gray instead of white. It doesn't matter if it's gray instead of white because it's going to get covered when they put the roofing on with metal drip edge. It's going to come right down basically all the edges, ends, and here on the eaves. That's all going to get covered up with metal. And it'll be red when it's done. All that's going to do, the paint, let's get over here. The only thing the paint's going to do is just preserve the wood so that condensation and such doesn't tend to melt it in a couple of years, which would be extremely difficult to replace, being as how it's going to be under metal drip edge. So, with that being said, I'm going to get back at it. I just did the first one. Came out pretty nice. I'm doing one side, one end, and one edge for now. Because it's latex, it'll cure up really quick. And by the time I get done with all of these boards, the first ones will be ready to go again. Then I'll flip them and do the other side and the other edge. I'm probably going to not paint the end that has the tags on them, because most of those are going to have to be cut so that I hit the ends of the rafters for nailing, so I can split a rafter basically, so I have a place to nail two boards. If you're familiar with construction, you know how that works. I'll probably have that on video later. It's a comfortable, cool, breezy day, so it's perfect for doing some painting. Spray painting not so much, but brush painting, it works great. Anyway, I'm going to shut up here and get back at it, and I'll check in with you later. Bye. Well, down to the last one on the first side. Thought I'd show you a little trick that a lot of painters do, especially if you're not going to pour into a different bucket. You see these little holes around the side? Well, I just took a hammer and a nail, and I just poked some holes inside the rim so that any paint that gets on there has a chance to drain back inside. Just a little tip, trick, hint that makes the job a little less messy, and the can will actually seal up better if you do it that way. And of course, I just noticed I got a little goob over there, but that's okay. It's latex, so we'll clean it pretty quick. Anyway, I thought I would go ahead and do this last board on camera. Let's see if I can pull the legs out. There we go. And get you situated so you can see the action. And it's pretty straightforward. I've got things situated so I have the work closest to me. I can reach over and get into the bucket. Hang this out over the edge, because this edge and that end I'm painting. When I do the other side, I'll do the edge that hasn't been painted yet. I want to make sure I'm in frame here. Oh yeah, we're good. So it's pretty simple. Start at one end and work your way down. Brush is already loaded. I like to put about an inch of paint on the edge of the brush and squeeze off the excess on the opposite side. And again, we're just doing a fairly thin coat, and there's no rush. We can take our time, although it looks like I'm going fast. This is just basic paint for trim that's nobody ever going to see after the roof goes on. And I use a little bit less paint this time because the brush is pretty well loaded up now. And let's got to stipple a little bit there. Okay, pull it back. Now we're going to do the edge, and we're just going to do just a little bit of paint on the edge. and just pull it on. This is a real nice sealer paint. I've used this before. There's another one called Kills, I think. I've used that also. They're also available in oil-based. Both of them are available in latex, which is a lot easier to clean up, and it cures a lot faster. Everybody says it dries. It doesn't actually dry. It cures. The volatile compounds basically evaporate out, or the chemical reaction, whatever it is. This is not low VOC or volatile organic compound paint. It does have VOCs in it. Pull it back. And let's do the edge. Just a little bit on the end of the brush. And just pull it down. This brush is actually designed for latex paint and for doing trim and cutting in. Basically, you get a fairly heavy application on the end. Get off. There we go. And then spread it out and pull it. I'll do this one more time. Other good thing about this primer sealer is it seals the knots. It does a very nice job of that. They just disappear under this paint. And you can see on some of these others, you can see knots on the edges, but you can't see them up on the, oh, there's a knot there that's bleeding through. But that's alright. We can always put a little bit more paint on there when we're doing the finish up. But for the most part, it just covers everything up in pretty much one coat. And I have way more paint than I really need, but there'll be other things that it can be used for. Because when you're building a house or working a homestead, there's always something that needs painted. And we'll pull that in. Oh, there's a little, didn't get quite covered. There we go. And we're done. And I can see that knot wants to show through. We'll just put a little bit more paint on there. A second coat, especially after things cure up a little bit, is the best way to go. So that's it. I'm just going to take this and put it over on the end. I'm going to cover the can for a little while, take a little break, and then we'll flip things over and do the other side. Hope you enjoyed. Oh yeah, the other advantage to having a latex or water-based, all you need is a wet cloth. I mean, I got some on my gloves, but if I was bare-handed, I could just take a wet cloth and clean it right up. So now I can turn the camera off without getting paint all over the place. Hope you enjoyed. Later on. Well, there we go. That's all 10 of them painted on all but the ends right here. Which again, I'm not going to worry about that. Those ends are going to wind up getting cut anyway. And there's the last one. And I think I'm going to let these set up. And I'm going to do a second coat. And I may wind up doing a third coat because these things are going to be in an inaccessible area. And I want them to last for, well, longer than me, I hope. So that's the plan. So we're going to make sure they're covered real good. And of course, when I cut the ends, then those ends will be painted, really thickly, heavily painted, and we'll take it from there. In fact, yeah, I may do a miter cut, and we'll just see how that works out. But anyway, that's it for now. I think it's time for some lunch, and I'll be back at it a little bit later. In the meantime, I keep hearing we'll have more apples on that. Now the pear, I ate the pear. It was pretty darn good, but it was about a week too early, I think. And we have a plum over here somewhere, or we did. Well, we had a plum, it must have fallen off. So I don't know what happened. It was down low. What the heck happened to it? Maybe it fell off because it was ripe and I missed the boat. I might pop the cage off that and see if I can find it in there. The cherries. I have got to get the cages out of here and clean all this stuff out because I think we have cherry leaf spot fungus, which is not going to be good. I think both cherry trees are going to need that, and hopefully next year they will have recovered sufficiently. But man, doesn't the end of that house looks great now that it's got siding all the way around. And of course I'm painting the fascia boards. I have some more T111 scraps that I can cut to close in these ends here, and we'll be pretty much done. At some point those soffits will probably get painted and then trim put out all the way around, but that'll be a project for next year. As time is getting short for me here in Maine, very soon it's going to be time for me to head back to my sweet baby's loving arms. Well, that's it for now. I'll update you when we're done. Later. And there it is. 10 boards, 2 coats, and I didn't flip that one around. That was the last one I did, so that's just the way I was processing them through. But they're all done the same way. Nice heavy coat on the second coat. And now it's time to clean up the mess. And the thing I like about latex paint is you don't need a bunch of nasty chemicals to do the cleanup. Let's get the rag wet first. Just plain old water will do it. There we go. A lot of people will do this in the kitchen sink, and that's fine because it's just water-based paint. This will take a couple of cycles to get through it. So we'll go ahead and dump that. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to end up I'm just going to end it right here. I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this brush. It's going to take a few times of changing out the water, but that's my fascia board right there, ready to go on tomorrow. Later on, folks. Well, howdy, folks. It is Friday, and I've got 8 more days, I think. A week from tomorrow, I get on the plane and start headed east. But anyway, there's the south fascia installed, and we'll take a quick walk around the other side here. And the north fascia is done, and as you can see, I still got a little bit of a hole there, but I had a corner break off. Anyway, all 4 corners are closed in now on the eaves, and I think the rest of it's going to be a matter of just putting in some trim, and I'll worry about that some other time. Anyway, I'm done for today. Pretty much done with the ladder work now. I will catch you with another update when something happens. Who knows? Maybe some roofing is going to start going on tomorrow. Who knows? The last little job I've got to do is get back underneath, and I'm going to lay a tarp down like I did before. But this roll of Reflectix has to be reinstalled, and I have the last roll of 1/4-inch hardware cloth to put up underneath the Reflectix, and that will make the cabin nice and critter-proof, we hope. And that won't blow off again then, like it did last year, or this winter, something. But that's it. We'll I don't know. I'm hungry. I want to eat. I'll catch you later. Life is still good. And I'm out of here. Bye.